At this point, it was clear that no matter who had been behind these murders, the war around the East Side was getting very heated. But the following year in 2022, things would arguably go from bad to worse, as both Jeff and now also Q50 would get increasingly involved in these beefs, even catching a body that would eventually become one of Q50's main bragging rights in his music. In October 2022, Lil Jeff, or Bloodhound Lil Jeff as his artist name is called, would begin his rap career, dropping his first song and music video titled The Bloody Family together with JB Bin Laden, and the name of the song being an obvious reference to the Bloodhound gang. Since the beginning, Jeff was rapping like he was really truly about that life, dropping bars like how he bought himself a gun when he hopped off the porch, and now he's killing people like it's a sport. Q50 too can be seen in this music video wearing a COVID mask, whilst doing entertaining drill antics like using a Draco for weightlifting. Also in the music video for the song Knuck If You Buck by Vert, released some weeks later at the end of October, Q50 can be seen holding 2 handguns with drum magazines, showing just where he might have gotten his name from, as he would later also rap in his songs. Clearly, around this time, Q50 was already knee-deep in the gang lifestyle, after seemingly having begun to increasingly hang out with the Bloodhounds at least since the previous year, and now having finished his high school years, as well as having seemingly moved to Chicago. However, it would still be several months before Q50 himself would eventually begin to rap in the spring of 2023, but while Q50 wasn't yet rapping, it appears that he may have been getting involved in other, far more sinister activities that the Bloodhounds were allegedly involved in too. Because only about a month after the release of Lil Jeff's Bloody Family music video, a murder would take place that Q50 has later referenced in his songs numerous times. On the 10th of November 2022, a 29-year-old OG of the 9-5 mob called Bougie, real name Rodney Strong, as well as his brother and mother, were visiting their local McDonald's, which is located only 0.2 miles away from the corner of 95th and Wentworth that the 9-5 mob claims. This is in fact the very same McDonald's where all the way back in 2013, someone would shoot infamous drill rapper Lil J in the buttocks. Anyway, while Bougie and his family were in front of the McDonald's, another car would suddenly pull up, with several men hopping out of the car, armed with handguns and a rifle, beginning to shoot at them.
602 Sam.
Go ahead, 602 Sam.
Hey, we're getting shot spotter, 13 rounds at 51 West 95th Street on the street. Hey, we're getting another shot spotter for 1 round on 9443 South State, and that's on the sidewalk, and it looks like there's a person down at the McDonald's, right at the front door.
10431. We're also getting a call of a person shot. Yes, we're getting one person shot, a woman shot in the arm at 95th and Lafayette at that McDonald's. We got 2 people shot. 631, we're getting another one at 95th at the McDonald's at the red line, another person shot.
560 on the zone, 560.
Go ahead, 560.
We got a person shot, actually 2 at this McDonald's, 95th Street. I'm going to need a couple stations, cars, supervisors, and crime scene team. We have a lot of people over here. Doesn't look good.
10-4, we have cars coming your way.
Where's the crime scene at?
At the McDonald's. We got 1 at the red line and 632s with the other victim. I'm sorry, 631s with the other victim.
633.
Go ahead, 633.
We got one more shot.
602 Sam.
602 Sam.
That person shot over there. There is a white Infiniti sedan. It left the area going southbound down the wrong way on LaSalle from 95th, northbound.
633.
633.
It's a total of 3 people shot over here, 2 males, 1 female.
10-4. I got some more info for the police. 95th and Lafayette. 2 male blacks jumped back into a white Infiniti. Last seen going northbound on Lafayette. Possible 4 occupants.
Well, we need another info over here.
We got them rolling.
All right, I got info on 2 of the victims shot. First victim, 1 gunshot wound center back into the left butt. His last name is Strong, common spelling. First name. His brother shot multiple times, same last name. First name Rodney.
Shot multiple times. 10-4. What's their conditions? 614. What are their conditions?
Rodney, he's extremely critical, and he's up, he's moving, he's talking, he's in good condition.
Breaking news at the 5 o'clock hour. 3 people have been wounded by gunfire at a McDonald's restaurant on Chicago's South Side. Now to a shooting at McDonald's restaurant. 3 people have been wounded.
Our Mayor Kawash is live at the scene there. This is 95th and Lafayette on the South Side. Eric?
Cheryl Allen, still quite the scene here from police as they have this entire McDonald's blocked off right off the Dan Ryan. As of right now, Chicago Fire tells us there are 3 victims in this shooting. Their ages ranging from 29 to 49 years old. Witnesses tell us this was kind of sparked by a drive-by. That's where these bullets were coming from, out of some vehicle here near 95th and Lafayette. Now, officials tell us there are some shell casings inside that McDonald's here, which again is closed right here. It's still not clear what sparked the shooting, but we know the 3 victims are being treated at nearby hospitals. 2 of the men listed in critical condition and a female also seriously hurt. We just spoke to a pastor who has a church right nearby. He came over here just after those shots were fired.
On the day that's supposed to be, the last warm day of the year, right after the elections, so we can see if, some of these people are going to do what they say. And they got a good example today. It's a violent day in the city, and definitely a violent, just crazy day here while people are trying to come home from work.
So again, all signs of a tragic scene here. 3 victims in the hospital. Police continuing to work through this entire investigation. There were reports of several rounds of gunfire coming from that vehicle. So we're expecting another update from Chicago Police. As we continue to learn more this evening, we'll keep you updated. Alan, Cheryl.
2 of the victims, the brother and mother of Bougie, would survive, but unfortunately, Bougie wouldn't be so lucky, as he appeared to be the main target of the attack and would get shot numerous times, passing away later at the Advocate Christ Medical Center.
Now to a breaking news update, a shooting right in front of a popular McDonald's. 1 man is dead, 2 others hurt.
Pastor Donovan Price says he's saddened to hear about this incident, not only because of those injured and killed during the shooting, but also because it's on that very same corner where he does a lot of his anti-violence and community outreach. Thursday night, crews boarding up the windows of this McDonald's on 95th Street, just off the Dan Ryan, where police say a woman and 2 men were shot.
Apparently a car pulled up with an individual who opened and shot, and at least 29 shell casings I counted, and so it was quite a shooting.
Just before 3 p.m., a 49-year-old woman was shot in the arm. She's expected to be okay. A 27-year-old man was shot in the back and is in good condition. And a 29-year-old man was shot multiple times and died, according to police. It's unclear if the 3 are related or if they were the target of the shooting.
One of the young men that got shot, he went running back into McDonald's, and a CTA bus driver, a bus operator, caught him as he fell. One ran around the back by the Maxwell Street hot dog stand, and he succumbed to his injuries. He fell.
At the scene, clothing and bullet casings scattered all along the sidewalk.
Tragic at such a busy street during almost during rush hour time. What could have happened is perhaps what we should be thankful for in the midst of the tragedy.
Yeah, police are still investigating this shooting, and so far, no one is in custody.
Only around 12 days after the murder of Bougie, there would be another shooting near that same McDonald's, which had reportedly begun after an altercation at the restaurant. It would seem that that McDonald's had had enough of these incidents, and they would close the location for good in early 2023. But this is certainly not the only McDonald's that's had to deal with extreme levels of violence in Chicago. And in fact, only a few months before the murder of Bougie, McDonald's CEO would raise an alarm over the escalating amount of violence at their restaurants in the city. According to one somewhat tongue-in-cheek political theory from 1996 by the Pulitzer Prize-winning author and political commentator Thomas Friedman, who came up with the Golden Arches theory, that says that the presence of McDonald's restaurants are actually a sign of a nation reaching a level of economic development and stability, with a country getting a McDonald's indicating that it has a strong enough middle class to support the fast food chain, as well as building strong economic ties with other similar nations. And as the theory goes, no 2 countries that both have a McDonald's have ever gone to war against each other. But the fact that the McDonald's couldn't stay open in the 9/5 mob hood says a lot about how dangerous the area was, that it was affecting McDonald's at a corporate level, and indicating that this area is indeed as dangerous as some of the conflict-ridden nations which are too damn wild for McDonald's to even want to set up shop there. While this theory is about nations, the economic inequality between the haves and have-nots in Chicago and the effects, like crime, that follow on from such inequality are clearly reflected in certain areas of the city, which have seemingly reached the levels of instability where even fast food chains like McDonald's struggle to keep their businesses open there. And that also goes to show how hard life is for the residents there too. Because if the McDonald's can't stay open due to violence, then people in the area can't go and work there for an honest employment, closing yet another avenue of economic opportunity in the area and forcing even more young people to turn to crime to get by. It's truly a vicious cycle. But anyway, there would seemingly be no strong leads in Bougie's murder, even with the details about the suspects being incredibly vague, as the assailants had seemingly covered their faces and bodies almost perfectly. But there would be clues about who might have been involved circulating amongst the local drill rappers. In April 2023, Q50 would begin his rap career, releasing the song and music video titled Big 3, which would include verses from Jeff and the Bloodhound member Slimito, aka Queese. Q50 Q50, who is dressed in all black while wearing a ski mask, begins his verse by also stating that when he stepped out in this gear, somebody died. But it wouldn't be until his next song, titled Coffin, which also includes verses from Jeff and JB Bin Laden, that Q50 would begin referencing the murder of Bougie, as he raps that someone should go pick their brother up before saying, "Now that's disrespect," and F95. These lyrics seemingly being aimed directly at Bougie's brother, who was there that day. After Coffin, Q50 would seemingly not pay much thought to rapping, as he would only drop 2 songs officially, neither of these seemingly mentioning anything explicit about Bougie. But he was by no means done with the dissing, and after Lil Jeff's death, as he would begin to pay much more attention to his rap career, the dissing would continue on both songs and on social media. In his track Splash Bros, released with a music video in July 2024, Q50 raps that since 9-5 Mob wanna troll, you should ask them about McDonald's, with this being yet another clear reference to the murder of Bougie, even adding an ad-lib after the bar saying that the McDonald's got closed due to this incident, with the diss seemingly being prompted by the fact that 9-5 Mob were trolling Jeff after his death. Indeed, amongst other disses, on June the 8th when Jeff was killed, a member of the 9-5 Mob would write a tribute to Bougie on social media, and then, on Jeff's posthumous birthday on the 14th of July, Bougie's brother himself would post on his social media how it's a dead dude's birthday, and then writing, "Happy birthday, bitch." Q50 would also rap on Splash Bros how he jumps out of the Infiniti Q50 make of car to do a hit with his 50-shot magazine, a bar which he's also repeated in other songs. Now, in the case of Bougie's murder, there's no clear indication that this specific model of car was used in the hit, but one of the leads that police would get immediately following the shooting would indeed be the fact that the suspects were driving a white Infiniti sedan.
I got some more info for the police. 95th and Lafayette. 2 male blacks jumped back into a white Infiniti, last seen going northbound on Lafayette. Possible 4 occupants.
Q50 would then continue by rapping how he went up 8 bodies and people know he's a real killer, before saying how somebody's mum was in the way during a hit, so she got shot too, exactly what had seemingly happened during the murder of Bougie. Then, in August, AMF Visuals' YouTube channel would drop a vlog about shooting a music video for Q50's new song, 762.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I'm like, I know what you're saying, but it's just like, I got you. That's how I lived up, man. That's how I lived up doing this video. Y'all tell me. Moving around. That's how I lived up, before. I'm out there, I'll be sound folk. It's stiff ass.
Unfortunately for Q50, this song, among many others, would end up leaking before the official release of the music video, something that would seemingly piss him off a lot, though the song would eventually get an official release in August 2024. In the song, Q50 would make his most direct disses towards Bougie so far, as he raps how Bougie had tried to run and had tripped, and that's why he got killed, before making yet another reference to McDonald's being closed, saying that he doesn't want to work shifts there anyway. Then, in another song by Q50 and Jeff, titled Should Have Ducked, which was leaked soon after, Q50 raps how someone was stealing from the Bloodhounds, so he hopped out broad day and caught that person's friend together with his brother, which seems like yet another reference to Bougie and his brother, with the implication being that someone affiliated with the 9-5 Mob may have been stealing something from the Bloodhounds, causing them to retaliate. Although in all fairness, this particular lyric could also reference the much more known double murder of 2 high school students in downtown Chicago that Lil Jeff and the other Bloodhounds have also claimed responsibility for. In any case, the dissing wouldn't stop there, because in yet another leaked song titled Kill Switch, which includes verses from Q50, Jeff, and a Bloodhound affiliated rapper called T-Slick, Q50 aims his disses again directly towards Bougie, saying that when he died, his friends did nothing but a diss song in response. Lil Jeff too had previously made a similar remark in his song Tony Montana, released in April 2024, but at the time, it wasn't clear whom he was talking about. The diss that Q50 and Jeff are likely referring to is a little known song titled Get Even by a 9-5 Mob rapper called Mark from 9-5, which was released about a month after Bougie's murder. In the song, Mark raps how they're sliding through the 9, which is likely a reference to the 79th Street that the Bloodhounds claim, before saying how they took a loss and need to get even, which seems to be a clear reference to Bougie. Mark also directly states how they shoot people for Bougie, before saying how they stand over a hound and overkill him, the reference to the Bloodhounds now being crystal clear. He then further continues how the murder of Bougie turned him up, so he's going to slide through the 7-9 and shoot it up, before continuing to explain how another rapper is dead because they hit him up, and then seemingly telling a rapper to stay inside and stop trolling because they know his face. While Q50 wasn't still rapping at the time this song was released, Lil Jeff certainly was, and it just so happens that he had dropped a song and music video titled I Love My Draco together with Vert at the end of November 2022, just 20 days after Bougie's murder, and 15 days before Mark would release his diss. The name of the song I Love My Draco is interesting in its own right, given that one of the guns used in the murder of Bougie was supposedly a rifle, because while a Draco is technically not a rifle, it certainly looks like one, as well as using the same bullets that many assault rifles also use. The music video begins with a clip of Jeff and Vert sliding in traffic, with Jeff using a shirt as a mask while they listen to the song Should Have Ducked by Lil Durk and Pooh Shiesty, with Jeff rapping along to the lyrics about being Mr. leak of the music video showing about a 1-second clip of someone who looks like Q50 holding up a gun to the camera. This being one of the very few times that Q50 is actually on camera in the video, as if him showing up at the beginning masked up was simply to send a message. Interestingly, Lil Jeff is also masked up in the video, with the last image that Bougie may have seen before he was gunned down being these two masked up guys running up on him. The video as a whole then is likely explaining why 9-5 Mob may have taken it as Bloodhounds trolling them. Mark would then end the dissing of the Bloodhounds on his song by rapping how they're shooting with switches and another person will be dead on Cottage Grove. This street of course being the largest and busiest street in the Bloodhounds or Drill City's hood, where numerous people have lost their lives. However, despite even 9-5 Mob seemingly admitting that the Bloodhounds were behind this murder, there are also other theories about who might have been responsible. These rumours revolving around 9-5 Mob's more close by ops, such as a set called Nateville and another set called Rack City. All these three sets being very close to each other. The rumours have even caused debates on places like Reddit, where Jeffologists have gotten mad at people for quote unquote trying to discredit his work, which I guess is one way to talk about murders if you've been as prolific in them as Lil Jeff supposedly was. These discreditors have even claimed that they have inside sources who have told them that Rack City was actually behind the murder of Bougie. Rack City are certainly no strangers when it comes to violence, and members of the set were recently charged with a RICO case in connection with the murder of a man named Ogonia Okiki. This murder allegedly being committed by Rack City against none other than 9-5 Mob, which the news report referred to as the Princeton Park GDs. But to be clear, in the end, nobody has seemingly been charged for the murder of Bougie, and thus there is seemingly no credible evidence against either the Bloodhounds or Rack City. But clearly, one gang has been way more eager to claim it than the other. And while it's difficult to say if Bougie's murder is Q50's alleged first one based on his lyrics, it seems to hold a special place in his heart for one reason or another. In any case, what does seem clear based on Q50's lyrics is that going forward, his capacity for violence would only increase. But it wouldn't be his ops who would get hurt, because in 2023, Q50 himself would seemingly come within an inch of his own death. As I discussed in my Lil Jeff video, 2023 is when the violence in the street would seemingly get personal for the young Bloodhounds, particularly Jeff and Q50, as their cousin and beloved Bloodhound member Z Money, real name Zaire Nelson, would be gunned down near his hood while sitting in a car in a parking lot of a dry cleaners. Chi-Town Crime Chasers Facebook page would be at the scene shortly after, filming the police investigating the scene, while in the comments of the video, Q50's mother would react to the footage, clearly personally affected by the death of her cousin. Paying tribute to him, both Jeff and Q50 would get Z Money tattoos at the top of their eyes, as well as a bunch of Z's tattooed on their index fingers, aka trigger fingers. Z Money's murder has never been solved, but it's clear from all the online rumors that the Bloodhounds consider their old friends from Trap City to be behind the hit. This murder now breaking apart the 0679 alliance that these two sets had formed over a decade ago. But it's unclear how much Trap City themselves were talking about Z Money's death publicly on social media at the time, but particularly since Jeff's death, they have become much more emboldened to diss him, with the young Trap City rapper Tero, who's a former good friend of Vert, even making a diss track that he would preview on Instagram. The song including a bar where Tero seems to insinuate that the Bloodhounds had pushed Z Money out of the car before or after he was shot. Tero, together with two Trap City OGs, OTF Black and iTrap Rob or Trap City Rob, who the internet has painted as Lil Jeff's killer, would even give an interview to the YouTuber X-Man Rico, where they would insinuate that Trap City had fallen out with Drill City or the Bloodhounds due to someone from that side stealing a chain from one of their members.
Cause the way Reddit, this is why I want the clip too. They say his dad from down here, Big J, like that.
Everybody
Big J.
From around here. Anybody you got.
Also, his daddy is from down here.
Yeah, fuck used to hang with them. They know what they did.
So okay.
They know what they did.
So okay, the Bloodhounds, y'all was cool.
Everybody that got a. That was my homie. He stole a chain, bro. We tried like he took it. He stole my own chain.
Who was that? South J or something?
Nah, brother.
One of the other guys.
This one of the other. This other one.
Both letting him wear the J. He come back like he got into a high speed with 12. Line saying he lost it. You know what I'm saying? That's how broke they little shit. You know with them, you know?
Yeah.
The young Bloodhounds, on the other hand, have implied that Z Money's killer is locked up, which is why they can't get their hands on him, with the Chiracologists then coming to a conclusion that Z Money's killer must be a Trap City rapper called Lil Cap.
The people still alive because he booked right now. The people who kill Z Money is still walking this earth. Hey, this tied on my face for no reason. It's tied on this. Hey,
Jail saving his ass.
Who even had a song together with Vert and JB Bin Laden from December 2021, where even Lil Jeff makes a quick cameo. The older Bloodhounds too, like Derm, would also still in 2022 promote Lil Cap and Tero's music before things would go all the way left. Moreover, it seems that the young Bloodhounds, including Jeff and Q50, may have even been sliding for Trap City before the falling out. In July 2022, an alleged Trap City member called Buck, or Bucko, was killed during an altercation at a house party in Trap City's hood. While it's unclear what exactly had happened at the house party, it seems that Trap City and the 0679 Alliance took Buck's death hard, and they wanted revenge. In a now deleted music video called Op K by Vert and Jeff, which has only been saved in a reaction video by another YouTuber, Vert begins the song rapping how they had gone sliding after Bucko's death, whilst also shouting out both Jeff and Q50. Then, at the end of his verse, Jeff too raps how he's also sliding for Bucko and that the get back had been quick. However, now the young Bloodhounds were all about getting their revenge for Z Money, and in the following months they would be associated with several murders in online rumours, one of these taking place only a few weeks later, when a young man called Lil Pooh, real name Pierre Boozer Jr., who was allegedly from the hood of the Flipside set where Jeff himself grew up, was gunned down in front of his home in April 2023, all the way in the far south side suburb of Sauk Village. After Pooh's death, Jeff would imply both on social media and in his music that Pooh had allegedly dissed Z Money, and that's why he had lost his life, even seemingly describing waiting for Pooh to return home while laying in the grass of his yard in his song In Your Home that features both Q50 and Vert. Interestingly, Lil Pooh's murder actually connects back to the murder of Bougie, as Lil Pooh's big brother is none other than the 9-5 mob rapper Mark from 9-5. Mark would even make a tribute song to Pooh soon after his death, but this time the song would seemingly have no pointed disses towards any specific set. Now, Mark being Lil Pooh's brother certainly doesn't mean that it was Jeff or other Bloodhounds behind this murder, but it certainly adds another layer to the story, as Pooh had now not only allegedly dissed Z Money, but had also been deeply associated with people who were in an active war with the Bloodhounds. However, rapper Lou Glock from the Mix Mob set, who is seemingly also related with Lil Pooh, recently called the rumours about the Bloodhounds being behind this murder a total fabrication, calling Lil Jeff and the other Bloodhounds high school musical rappers who haven't killed any gang members in Chatham. Some Redditors have also pointed out how Jeff couldn't have been behind this murder since he grew up on Flipside and was seemingly close with other Flipside members. Indeed, some months after Pooh's murder in June, one member from Flipside's hood would post himself still hanging out with both Jeff and Q50. But a few months after that, the same member would also post how he only associates with people who are really sliding and has no affiliation with any set, before ending the post saying F Flipside. But what makes this case even more confusing is that one of Lil Pooh's supposed close friends from Flipside, who even had Forever Lil Pooh text in his Instagram profile, would seemingly post an earnest tribute to Lil Jeff following his death. However, it seems that since then, this member has actually completely removed the tribute to Lil Pooh from his Instagram profile, which makes it seem like there may be much more going on behind the scenes than drill fans get to see. Anyway, it seems that the death of Z Money had launched a tidal wave of animosity between the Bloodhounds and anybody who dared come in their way.
So what was the one situation that has occurred in your life that made you say, fuck these niggas?
My homie dad, that's on my face, she was right here.
Z Money?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was super deep after that. Everybody after that.
Okay, I see Z Money on his face as well. Y'all share the same tattoo.
Not that.
So this definitely had to be somebody that meant a lot to both of y'all. How long ago was his passing?
May. Was that last May?
Yeah.
That's a year ago.
No, March. Yeah, March.
That was March.
Last March.
And how did this death affect your mentality, brother?
All I see is red.
However, the Bloodhounds weren't the only ones getting active, and it seems that at some point after Z Money's murder, Q50 himself would become the target of a shooting, apparently getting shot in his leg, as he would mention in the song Coffin, which released with a music video in June 2023. Q50's mother too would seemingly confirm this shooting happened, as she would write in November 2023 to her social media how she had almost lost her son that year. However, at the time, there appeared to be no indication as to who had been behind the shooting. But that would seemingly change when Tero would drop snippets of his Bloodhound diss on his Instagram, with one of the lines of the song seemingly insinuating that it was Trap City who had gotten Q50 shot. Q52 has continued to reference the shooting in his recent songs, like on the song 762, which would finally be released with a music video in late August 2024. Q50 first begins the song while rapping how he was still spinning while having a crutch, before later returning to the topic and rapping how the ops had thought that he had died after shooting him until he hopped on Instagram Live. The war between these old friends, Trap City and Drill City, or now the Bloodhounds, was now in full effect. But as those of you who would have seen my Lil Jeff video would know, the next victim in this war would be on Trap City's side, and his death becoming one of Lil Jeff's favourites to claim in his music. On the 25th of June, at around 8:55 PM, a 19-year-old Trap City member called Leil, real name Jaleel Goins, would catch a rideshare car on the 1300 block of West Taylor Street, located in the Little Italy neighborhood near the University of Illinois Chicago campus, far away from Trap City's hood. But as Leil had sat down in his rideshare car, someone would quickly approach the car on foot, getting next to the rear passenger window, opening fire.
Loomis and Taylor. Loomis and Taylor, we're getting shots fired. Loomis and Taylor, Taylor and Loomis. Caller heard 6 gunshots. Witness male black wearing black clothing shooting into a white vehicle, possibly a Toyota Camry.
After shooting Leil through the car window, the shooter, who apparently had dreads, would seemingly take off running through an alleyway to get away from the scene.
The male black, all black clothing with dreads, running down the alley westbound. Caller didn't see a weapon on him, but there's windows that are shut out.
Meanwhile, the rideshare driver would immediately take off, driving Leil to the nearest hospital, which was less than a mile away. But at that time, it would already be too late, as Leil would be pronounced dead upon arriving to the hospital. And the local ABC 7 News would be at the scene later that night and the next morning, interviewing the locals who had witnessed the shooting, with one of them explaining how the police may have counted 8 shots in the car window, but she heard more than 20. This perhaps saying something about the type of gun used in the shooting.
Chicago police investigating a fatal shooting yesterday evening. 19-year-old Jaleel Goins was pronounced dead at Rush University Medical Center, but police and nearby residents tell us the incident began in the 1300 block of West Taylor Street, where Goins was a passenger in a rideshare and was shot. Then the rideshare driver drove Goins to the hospital. This woman was outside to meet someone. She tells me she was looking down at her phone, then heard the shots. She thought she had been shot, but she had not.
I'm down there on the ground crying and shaking and stuff. Pow, pow, pow. They said it was like 8 shots. No, I believe it was more than 20.
As for the investigation, Chicago police tell us at this point, no one in custody, no motive.
As I covered in depth in my Lil Jeff video, dissing Leil after his murder would become one of Jeff's favourite pastimes, with Jeff rapping highly incriminating bars like in the track Stretched, where he says he caught someone lacking in a fishbowl, meaning a car with no tints, and saying that Leil looked up like he saw a ghost and he's now dead, as well as rapping that they smoke on Leil in multiple songs. However, Jeff was certainly not the only one, as Q50 would participate in this dissing with glee, like in the song No Tomorrow, released with a music video in April 2024, where Q50 raps how he calls the latest dead guy from Trap City an Uber pack, and he would continue the dissing in his most recent songs like Make It Far, where he rapped that whoever sent Leil a lift should ask if he made it back, and rapping that he's smoking Leil on the song Scarface, as well as on social media, making posts hinting towards something that Lil Jeff had said on songs, saying that Draco made it so Leil never got out the car. But it would be the song Splash Bros, released with a music video in late July 2024, where he would put out the most revealing bar, rapping how Leil had been killed with 7.62 bullets and mentioning him by name. 7.62 caliber bullets come in many lengths and are used in many different kinds of guns, but they're particularly common bullets for assault rifles such as the world famous AK-47. However, in drill culture, these bullets have become particularly associated with the Draco, which, as I mentioned before, is in fact technically categorized as a pistol, even though it commonly uses these very same bullets as an AK-47 might, and in fact, it looks a lot more compact than the version of its infamous big brother. But what makes Q50's line about Leil getting killed with these particular bullets noteworthy is the fact that none of the news reports about this murder would seemingly mention anything about the type of gun that was used, nor was this fact mentioned by the popular Spot News Twitter account that reports on crime in Chicago based on police radio activity, which Jeff and Q50 have even mentioned many times in their songs. However, as police patrols arrived at the murder scene and in the hospital where Leil had been taken, they would not only find Leil to have a 9mm pistol on him, but they would indeed find what an officer would describe as rifle shell casings on the ground where the shooting had happened.
Here's a unit to the hospital, what type of weapon it is. We got rifle shell casings over here on Taylor.
1263 Adam.
Ours looks like a Springfield XD, possibly 9mm. We haven't touched it.
They're saying it's a possible 9mm.
That person was in the car with their handgun, but we had a second shooter out here on the street with a rifle.
Alright, so there's a second shooter over there with a rifle. Alright, 10-4.
Now this of course doesn't mean that Q50 took part in this murder, but it wasn't exactly a secret that Jeff in particular was very fond of using the Draco, to the point where he would even get the nickname King Drake. Yet knowing how Q50 likes to seemingly insert real details from real crimes into his lyrics, it's certainly interesting that he would get this fact seemingly correct, and the blasé attitude that he had to rap such details that only the shooters would know is possibly a prime example of self-snitching. But still, it could be a coincidence. But whatever the case may be, it would only be a few months later when the next gruesome shooting would take place, that Q50 is commonly referenced in his songs, the target of this shooting being a much older member of Trap City. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, one of the more outrageous bars that Q50 has dropped in his recent solo songs is from the song Splash Bros, where he raps how he shot someone 10 times and that Jeff shot them 5 times before literally dropping the name of their victim as an ad-lib, this name being Glenn. Once again, this bar appears to be a reference to a real shooting that took place, the victim of this shooting seemingly being an alleged member of Trap City named Glendale. Glendale, or Glenn, is actually very close and maybe even related with perhaps the most well-known member of Trap City, the alleged killer of Lil Jeff, I Trap Rob, or Trap City Rob, who the internet has painted as being the man who fired the shots from the porch that took Jeff's life. On Thursday the 31st of August 2023, at around 2 PM, Glenn was at a Clark gas station on the intersection of 67th and Eberhart, which is located in Trap City's hood. While seemingly standing at the gas station, someone would approach him and begin shooting, hitting him numerous times.
I'm getting a call of person shot, 517-67 at the Clark, and double check and let me know.
We'll check right now.
Says it's a guy laying on the ground shot. They hung up before any more info. 363 David, around 67 at Eberhart, got a male black shot multiple times.
X-ray 323, I got a name for our victim on 67th Street.
X-ray 323, go with your person shot from 67 info.
First name Glendale. That's George, Lincoln, Eddie, Nora, David, Adam, Lincoln, Eddie. Date of birth is going to be...
serious, critical at this time?
I'll say critical.
This was another violent day in Chicago, and in the Woodlawn neighborhood alone, 4 people got shot, including a 4-year-old boy, but thankfully, everyone would seemingly survive. Already the next day, Glenn would post on his social media thanking everyone who had checked on him after the shooting. Then a few days later, he would also send a message to everyone that wanted to see him dead, this message likely being pointed particularly towards the Bloodhounds in Drill City, who had previously been close with Trap City, but now wanted them dead. Some months would pass, but then in December 2023, Lil Jeff and Vert would release the song Stretched, together with a music video. Lil Jeff begins his verse by saying how he caught someone lacking at the store and shot him 5 times, after which someone who he calls his cuz gave him 10 more. Notably, the amount of shots mentioned by Jeff is the exact same that Q50 would later say in the song Splash Bros, with Q50 of course being Jeff's actual cousin. It's also worth noting that the Clark gas station where Glenn was shot indeed has a small snack and grocery store. And once again, the dissing would continue a few months later in March 2024, when Jeff, together with JB Bin Laden, would drop a music video for their song Run But Can't Hide, and in his verse, Jeff once again mentions shooting someone outside of a store, this time specifying that this was in broad daylight and that his switch had made his victim use the stop, drop and roll technique that's taught to kids in case their clothes catch on fire. After Jeff's death, Q50 would join in on the Glenn disses too, with one of his first direct mentions of Glenn in fact being in Jeff's song In Your Home that featured both Q50 and Vert, which was released as part of Jeff's posthumous album Stepping in Blood. And in his verse, Q50 raps how they're going to spin and spin on their ops blocks and how he left a person on the floor before specifying that he's talking about Glenn. And then, in his first solo song after Jeff's death, titled Make It Far, Q50 raps how he's up 8 hats, meaning bodies, but would have been up 10 if 2 of his victims hadn't survived, one of these victims seemingly being Glenn. In fact, Q50 would spin back to reference his 2 victims who got away in the song 762, but this time saying their names, rapping how he would have been up 10 bodies if it wasn't for Glenn and a person named Spoonie surviving. But perhaps the wildest reference that seemingly is about the Glenn shooting is in the song Splash Bros, and I'm not even talking about him mentioning Glenn by name, because later in that song, Q50 raps how you should have seen his victim's face trying to eat chips when Q50 bailed out of a Nissan Maxima. And as it just so happens, the car used by the suspects in Glenn's shooting was indeed that very car model, a Nissan Maxima, with the police even getting the license plate number for that car, but the plates would turn out to be stolen from another vehicle.
For 67th and Everhart, they fled in a gray Nissan, unknown direction.
Gray Nissan fled unknown direction.
Yes, but we have a plate for that gray Maxima Nissan. It's going to be Frank Paul. Last seen going southbound on Everhart.
Last seen southbound on Everhart from 67 is well, that Frank Paul one comes back to a blue 2022 Toyota, okay?
These are some absolutely wild references to a seemingly real attempted murder case, but once again, it appears that nobody's been arrested, and thus there is seemingly no real evidence to tie anybody to the shooting. Interestingly, after the security video of Jeff's killing would go viral, people on Reddit would begin to track down who was the infamous Yellow Shorts, who Jeff had been trying to shoot down when he was caught off guard and killed himself, with some people actually claiming the Yellow Shorts to have been none other than Glenn himself, with Jeff then allegedly spinning back almost a year later to try and finish the job. However, there is still seemingly no facts about exactly who the Yellow shorts actually was, with even the person that Lil Jeff's alleged killer, I-Trap Rob, would claim to be him. This is a guy called Man Man or Mainski, seemingly turning out not to be the actual yellow shorts. But the craze-shy rackologist would get so confused about the mystery of who was wearing the yellow shorts that day that they would even confuse Glenn and Man Man to be the same person. Other people have thought the yellow shorts to be a man called Trey, who would post himself with Lil Jeff's alleged killer I-Trap Rob only a few days after Jeff's death. But astonishingly, Trey is an actual blood brother of Jeff's very close friend and Bloodhound member Vert. This would certainly put Vert in an unbelievably difficult and uncomfortable position after his friend Jeff was killed by friends of a blood relative. But whether Trey was the yellow shorts or not, it's clear that Vert's relationship with his big brother is probably not what it used to be, as Trey would not only pose with Jeff's alleged killer for photos just a few days after his death, but also dissing Jeff in that same post, with this prompting Vert himself to hop on his brother's comments and diss either him, Rob, or both of them. Anyways, about a month after the shooting of Glenn, the luck would seemingly turn for Q50 momentarily, as in late September he was apparently arrested by the Chicago police for several serious charges, including a UUW or unlawful use of a weapon and another UUW for an automatic weapon or machine gun. There's been much confusion about his arrest online, as Q50 would be arrested a second time in 2024, with this arrest that time seemingly happening outside the city limits of Chicago, which is likely why that arrest can only be found on Cook County Sheriff's website, not on CPD's, and also why his court location is marked as Skokie, which is outside of Chicago. However, the Cook County website does not list the charges that Q50 was arrested for, therefore we don't know what his most recent charges are yet. But what we do know is that after the reported 2023 arrest, Q50 would seemingly already be released just a few days later, and he would return right back to the streets to cause even more havoc. As I discussed in depth in my Lil Jeff video, in early 2024, Lil Jeff, together with several other accomplices, would allegedly commit two of their most highly publicized murders, killing two high school students named Monterio Williams and Robert Boston, also known as Monty and Lil Rob, after Monty had allegedly stolen some jewelry from Jeff. These teens were all the way from the west side, but attended a high school in downtown Chicago, where they would be gunned down in a brutal assassination-style attack immediately after leaving their school. And a few weeks later, Lil Jeff would drop his most popular song, titled Ah, the music video for the song now being at 4 million views, with the whole song appearing to be dedicated as a diss song towards these two slain teens, with Jeff essentially laying out the details of these murders for the whole world to hear. The popularity of this song would push Lil Jeff's rap career to the next level, and seemingly pushed him to amp up his already out of control antics on social media. Ironically, one of Lil Jeff and Q50's favorite hobbies was seemingly robbing people of their jewelry, and in early May, they would once again catch a new lick, proudly showing their bounty off on social media, with Lil Jeff's hand and his new allegedly stolen watch still having blood on it from seemingly bleating up or shooting their victim. The victim would turn out to be a man called 6300 Bredo, who Jeff and Q50 would out during one of their many Instagram lives.
I'm gonna show y'all who just got his ass. That nigga mad. It wasn't him, but it was his number. I'm gonna show y'all. Look, bracelet he had on. It's him right here. Ooh, I see it. He ain't had none of this. What a bracelet at? Man, look, we exposing this nigga. Show that bitch. We got an AP already, Skull. I'm having my way in Chicago, Illinois. Hey man, get the people that they should never been trying to kick it down the line of green. That's it, $10. It cost him his whole hustle career. Everything he worked hard for.
Q50 would later also talk about this event in his songs, like the song Make It Far, where he raps how they smacked both Bredo and his girlfriend when they robbed him. Bredo is associated with a set called TMC, located on the west side near Marquette Park. This set also having a rapper called TMC Slide, who had been putting out music for several years. Soon, after the alleged robbery, Bredo would go on Instagram Live several times together with his TMC friends like Slide and another rapper called Nutso, seemingly in an effort to save face after this debacle.
Tell them count that up. Screenshot that. Tell them screenshot. Hey, Bloodhound, up $1. Screenshot that. Hey, don't forget this casket though. Hold on. Over good. Yeah. Over good. Yeah. Open them. Put them in there. Look what we live out. Oh. Hey, oh my God.
I done made it.
Yeah.
You know that, bro.
Yeah. Here now. Gotta go ahead, pal. Need to get that start home. Baby, in the Navy, nigga, here home. I can take it back long. Plus, you know my bag long. I told not to trust. No, you damn wrong. Oh, turn down. Suck that bird down. I'm seeing how much clan out. Lay the whole clan down. Leave him with his pants down.
Jeff, Q50 and the Bloodhounds now had a brand new beef on their hands, and just like how things had seemingly gone down with Monty and Rob, things would escalate again very quickly, and just about a week later, something would seemingly happen to TMC Slide, with Q50 hopping on social media to declare that Slide was now deleted and out of the picture. Jeff would even go on Instagram Live around this time, saying that he was now up 11 bodies. However, this would seemingly be around the same time when an alleged member of the 8 Trey mob called Baby KD, real name Khalil Dunbar, would also be killed, and he too would get associated with being one of Jeff's victims in online rumors, but Lil Jeff's Live saying he had 11 bodies could seemingly be claiming either one of these people.
Hold your wrist up. Hey, when he play this, y'all know what the I'm on my toes. 10 million on him. He got his soul. I wanna bust his toe. 2 AP, don't play with him. He want that shit pretty, man. That's 11. You're gonna be 8 and I'ma scan your stupid scary ass to hell.
However, in Slide's case, there would be confusion about what exactly had happened and whether or not Slide was even dead, with Jeff even making a post saying is he dead or alive before saying that he knows the truth but the ops don't want to tell, as well as saying pull the plug, making it seem as if Slide was perhaps only being kept alive with the help of life support. However, Slide would then seemingly return to his social media, posting how he was out of the country on a holiday in the Dominican Republic and telling people to stop calling his phone. However, based on his social media, it seemed like this trip had likely been all the way back in March 2024, but still, someone would also go live on his Instagram account, seemingly whilst being somewhere with palm trees. But interestingly, this person would never show their face to the camera.
It's a clone, it's a ghost. Y'all ain't talking about yeah, this Glide, this the clone. This Slide V2. Y'all first one up, number. Let me pin your comment, cause you a goofy. Right, they talking about Slide got killed, Slide this, Slide that. Slide is on live right now, out the country. You broke ass ain't got a passport. What the f are you talking about? Y'all say y'all did something to who?
Meanwhile, Jeff would keep trolling Slide, going live from LA where he was on a trip with Vert and Lil Scoom, saying how he hadn't heard from Slide since he had crashed into a building, this seemingly being one of the first clues about what had actually happened to him, as well as once again saying to pull the plug on his life support.
I ain't heard from that Slide, man, since he crashed into that crib, man. Life got brought from life support. I say all my pain keep me going. Slide getting annoying. I just want to see them pull the plug. I want to see them go from life support. They don't respect me no more. They don't love me no more. They ain't feeling my song. Is he dead or alive? I don't know what I'm lying. Cause you know that he died. But they steady lying. They keep trying to keep it quiet. The other side know that I'm gonna slide. Know I'm down the ride. They pop my pants, my man, he ain't there. Something. I'm in the sky. I'm in LA right now.
At the end of May, Q50 would once again post on his story saying that people are delusional and they should stop acting like Tupac is still alive. He would also update his body count, saying on a Facebook post how he's now up 8, whilst back in March 2024, his kill count had seemingly still been at 7. At the time, it wouldn't yet be clear if he was referring to KD or Slide, but this would seemingly change when Q50 would drop the song Make It Far, where he raps how he now has 8 bodies, even though people are still trying to claim his last victim as alive, with this being a rather obvious reference to Slide. In June, Vert 2 would join in on dissing Slide, posting a story on his IG asking Slide to post a picture or something to prove that he's still alive and well. However, once again, Slide's Instagram account would come back to life as someone would post a story asking why people think he's dead, as well as pointing out that no media outlet such as the legal help firm Facebook page that posts a lot of people that have been killed in Chicago had posted anything about Slide. However, someone would comment on a post about Slide's social media posting that his sister knows Slide's family and that he was indeed fighting for his life, and that it was in fact Slide's brother who was using his Instagram account. And then, as Q50 would begin posting more music around July 2024, as well as many of his songs getting leaked, there would be an abundance of new Slide disses dropping too. In the song Splash Bros, he would rap about how Slide had seemingly gotten shot a month ago and that since then he hadn't been talking, this song then likely having been made around mid-June. In his next officially released song First Day Out, Q50 would claim that Slide had gotten shot before crashing his car, and in a leaked song with Lil Scoom titled Bad Boy, he would seemingly reveal that Slide had gotten shot with a 10mm pistol, and while in another leaked song titled Scarface, together with the Philly rapper Hood Tarley, he would make perhaps his most revealing claim, rapping how the trenches know who had shot Slide before before saying how the fact that people are claiming that he's still alive is really bothering him. Meanwhile, members of TMC would do a hood vlog with On a Couch TV where they would also comment on Slide's current situation, seemingly admitting that he had indeed gotten shot, but also saying that he's still alive and doing good, as well as implying that the Bloodhounds just like to troll about everything.
Yeah, speaking on that too, like recently it been a lot of controversy over somebody named Slide from TMC. The fans wanted me to ask y'all like what's up with that, because they see him posting on Instagram, but a lot of people be trolling.
Look, let me say something. Look, steady trolling and bringing up Slide name, because look, folks up dog, you see what I'm saying? Folks a lot of different, they ain't got shit else to do, you see what I'm saying? So they ain't got as much money as folks. They ain't deal with folks and did. You feel me?
Yeah, because I even seen a video on YouTube, but I'm going live. I'm like,
look, they gonna keep bringing folks' name up, folks. They gonna keep doing all type of. But folks good though. Ain't nothing wrong with folks. Folks good though.
Yeah, that's that scooter.
That scooter. Steady doing that. We in Chicago, bro. Everybody get shot, bro. It's shopping, bro. Everybody get shot. Bro, my kid, everybody don't got 400,000-500,000.
What happened to they homies though? They troll Slide, but they homies is dead on folks. Like, come on, gang.
Just be clowns, man.
Folks still alive, breathing, talking. They homies can't do none of that type of.
So at that point, you feel like it'd be like the internet. They probably geek people up out
here. Got these people brains, man.
The internet got these. The internet got these whole mind f***ed up, bro. These do anything. Why did you stay speaking on the name on the internet anyway? Like, why is you on the internet doing all that? We don't overdo that, please. I don't be trolling. I don't do that, bro. I don't be trolling. I don't even play like that.
I'm trolling that. We gonna keep their lives too.
Nah, baby bro be over trolling that. But look, I don't be really, playing with these like they.
After all this time, it's still not clear what happened to Slide, and news reports and even platforms like The Spot News seem to have gotten very little information that would help clarify this mystery. Moreover, Slide's friends and even family appear to be completely radio silent on social media when it comes to his current situation, although what can probably be inferred is that Slide is likely facing some kind of life-altering injury. But while the Bloodhounds were still gleefully trolling Slide and implying that they were behind his sudden disappearance, they too would suddenly experience two enormous losses back to back, losing both of their biggest rappers in a very short span of time during the bleak summer of 2024.